Here we go. Okay, that's it. So for all those who came in late, now we're recorded, and we'll continue. Pause for the technical pause, and continue right into the last verse of the introduction, the Shochenah, the opening. Yishtabach Shimcha, may your name be praised forever, O God, our King, and that leads us into the Chatzi Kaddish, into the Baruch Hu. Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu, El Melech HaGadol B'Kadosh Ha'Shoretz, Ki L'Chanei Eloheinu V'Elahei Avoteinu. And we pick up at the end, Barachot Gadol Me'atav Yad Olam, Baruch Atah Adonai, El Melech HaGadol B'Tishbachot, El Odot Adon Niflot, Avoche B'Shir Zimra Melech, Echei HaOlamim. And we have the Chatzi Kaddish. We can pull it in right now. I don't have it here. Well, I can pull it up here. Wait 1 second. And we just do the first part together, and then we're going to run right back to the Baruch Hu. Yikadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Yamad Ibrach Hirutei, V'yam Nichmar Kutei, B'chad Renecha, Yamecha, O Chayei Decho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, O Vizman Kari, V'yimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam U'lo Me'olmaya Yiborach Yiborach V'yishtabach V'yipar V'yishama V'yitnasei V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudisha Berichu Le'elam Min Kol B'chata V'shirata Tosh B'chata V'nechemata La'amiram Be'alma V'meru. Amen. And now we go back to the Baruch Hu. So I'm going to skip right back up.
Oh, there's Debbie Friedman's Misha Barak. We could.
Yeah, I have it in here
sing along with
also. All right, we'll do a different version each time. So we've got the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Olam Moed, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Tzavor HaChoshech HaSham et HaKol. Praise the God who is the creator of light and darkness, who creates peace and has created everything. We're sitting in the middle of a virus. We say, what good can come of it? And there's a famous rabbi by the name of Gamzu, Nachum Ish Gamzu, said whatever happens, it'll also be good. So the story goes that he's traveling. He comes to a city. The city gates are locked. Nobody lets him in. He goes out into the wilderness right outside the city, encamps himself, lights a fire.
The fire goes out.
Wind comes, blows out the fire. Wolf comes, drags away his donkey. As this thing happens bad, he says, well, this is also for good. This is also for good. This is also for good. Lo and behold, that night, marauders come in, invade the city.
Here's the buffet, and here's the bookcase.
Okay. Okay, watch, because we get with noise in the background. So watch it. If you're going to talk in the background, turn off the mics. There's a mute button. Okay. Otherwise, I have to punish the whole class and turn off all the mics. Children. Okay. So the story goes that robbers come by at the night and invade the town, destroy the town. And the Rabbi Gamzu says, you know what? What can I tell you? They locked me out of the town. I didn't get killed. The wolf took my donkey, he would have called the robbers to me too. The wind blew out my fire, it would have drawn attention to me too. Okay. We never know. We never know what things may seem bad for us, may have a good thing. It's looking for the silver lining behind the cloud.
Yeah.
Continue.
The 405 parking lot is like a freeway now.
Oh, you can. Yes, isn't that wonderful?
They're
It's
going
like
70 miles an hour.
L.A. All the streets in L.A. are like Yom Kippur in Israel on the roads. Yom Kippur in Israel on the roads. Kids go out, take the bicycle. Not a single car is coming down the streets. Oh, what can I tell you? Let's go into Eladon, and I have this melody. We had it last week. I'm going to play it again this week, and we can sing along with them. I'm going to shrink the screen for a second so we can. Here we go.
Veshamru, page 54.
Wrong. Not yet. Wrong line. Not yet. Jumping ahead of the game.
Little early for Kaddish.
There we go. And we'll sing this Eladon with them. Sing along. Remember TV, they used to have a sing along. Wasn't with, this is going way back. File view. And we're going to continue now. Going to move along and right into the Ahava Rabbah. We'll all join in. Let's all sing this together. Group sing. Page 346 in the Siddur. If you have the Siddur online there, you see it right in front of you in the yellow bold face. Amar Rabbah Hadaru Adonai Eloheinu Emmanuel Vitera Amata Aleinu Avinu Makeinu Ba'avor Shabbat
Worship.
Avinu Malkeinu, V'Telamdein Chukei Hayim, Ein Techaneinu Tlamdeinu, Avinu Harachaman, Amrachem Rachem Aleinu, V'Tein B'Libeinu Lehavin, Lehavin Lehaskil Lishma Leilot Ole'amein Lishma Ve'lasot Olekayem Et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha B'Yahava. And now with gusto. Ve'ha'ereneinu b'toratecha v'daber libeinu b'mitzvotecha ve'yached levaveinu yahavahu lira'at shemecha v'lo nevash le'olam ha'ed v'lo nevash le'olam ha'ed ki v'shem Kodshecha Hagadol Anaratach Nagila v'nismecha Nagila v'nismecha b'shuatecha Ve'havienu l'shalom E'amatan chotoret Ve'tolicheinu kamemiyut le'atzeinu Datavan Rumachata Mikolam Elashon Ve'kereftanu L'shem Chagadol Sela Sela Be'emet Lehodatecha Oyachecha B'Yahava Baruch Atah Adonai V'Barech Moishe B'Yahava.
Amo Yisrael be'ahava.
And now, Stacey Morse sent us this clip, and it's a little story behind it with the Shema and a little extra twist to it. So listen carefully. Here we go.
Hi, this is Stacey with Chants of a Lifetime. Today I am sharing my personal Shema that I sing in the morning. At night, I sometimes speak it all in English. It was given to me along with my Hebrew name, Shira, which means song, by my cantor, Avshalom Cohen, who was from Israel. Cantor Cohen also taught me how to use a quill pen to write my Hebrew. At the end of the Shema, which you'll hear is a little bit different, my mother added a part of the Ashrei, which means happy. And here we go. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'komecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Ashrei, happy are we, how goodly is our portion, how pleasant is our lot, and how beautiful is our heritage. Happy are we who, early and late, morning and evening, twice every day declare, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. I hope you enjoyed. This has been 2 minutes and 30 seconds of Chants of a Lifetime.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you for Cantors. Stacey.
Thank you, Cantor Stacey.
Okay.
Wherever you are.
I gotta let her know. She's gonna help us also. She's gonna prepare some things for us for this later also. So now, go ahead to the last paragraph of the Shema. We take the tzitzit and let's all join in together. I notice we're all off by a fraction of a second, but that's okay. It gives a sense of community. We're as on key as when we're together, or as off key. Just as close to the real thing as we can get. We continue to take the tzitzit in hand. Vayomer Adonai Moshe Lemor, Daber b'nei Yisrael, v'marsu lem tzitzit, kanfei bigdehem lidorotam, v'natnu tzitzit, akanaf betil techelet, v'lachem letzitzit, uritem oto, v'schatem ekom mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam, ve'lo taturu acharei levachem, acharei nechem, asher tem zonim achreihem, Man tizkelu v'chzitem bekom mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelechem ani Adonai Elechem asher tzeitti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם לאלוהים ani Adonai Elechem emet lechem emet. I'm going to prepare to go into the Amidah with Mi Chamocha. And then Cantor Erman. I asked you about doing the Torah. So would you like to open the first paragraph of the Amidah for us also?
Okay.
Okay. I'll take it up through Mi Kamocha, and then you'll pick up from there. All right. So Tilot le'ele yom baruch hu mevarach Moshe uvnei Yisrael anu shirav tzimcha rabba b'imru chulam, and together. Mi kamocha le'elim Adonai, mi kamocha le'elam HaKodesh, norata l'sefele, shira hadasha shivchu geolim l'shemcha, al sefat hayam, shira hadasha shivchu geolim l'shemcha, al sefat hayam, yachat kulam odo, yachat kulam odo v'imlecho v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. So Yisrael, Kuma v'yezat Yisrael, Lechinu mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael, Go aleinu Adonai tzivot shema, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Adonai Gal Yisrael. And we're going to do our standing figuratively again, as we're dependent on mics. I'm going to pull up Cantor Erman here. Okay, there you are on the screen. And you can open up for us. Okay, go ahead. It's yours.
Adonai isvatai tidach uv'yagid hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chazadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot, U'mei Goel, Livnei B'neihem, Lemon, Shemo B'Yahaba. Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham. Antagi bor leolam Adonai, V'chaye metim atarab lehoshia. V'chakel chayim be'esed, V'chaye metim berachim. Don't make no fleeting holy, Umatir Asirim, Uvekaye Emunato, Lishtei Hafar, Nichamocha, Umidom Elach, Mechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua. Nemanat alachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, V'chaye hametim.
And we're going to skip over to Kedusha. 1 second. Nikadesh. Go ahead. Let me ask everybody, let the cantor lead. I know what's happening. We're getting delay, voice delay. And so whisper along, but let him lead. Go ahead. Kedusha.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam. B'shem shemat b'shimoto b'shmei marom. Kagatuv ayad neviyecha. V'kara zeh zeh v'yamar.
And let's join in here. Go ahead.
Kadosh, Kadosh, Adonai Tzebaot, Melech haaretz kevodo. Az bekol rash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmim kol, midnasim le'umat serafim, le'umat am baruch yomeiru. Baruch Adonai mimekomo. Bimkom chamalkeinu tofia betimloch aleinu, ki mechakim anachnu lach. Matai timloch betzion, begaron beyameinu, leolam va'et tishkon. Titgadam v'titgadash, b'toch Yerushalayim irchad, לדור ודור ונצח נצחים. ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, כדבר אמור בשירי עוזיך. על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. יברך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד קול אחד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד קול אחד. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך קדושתך נקדיש. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד קול אחד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
Dorvador nagid gorleman, Shivcha Eloheinu mi bino lo yanush, leolam leolam amen. Melech Kadosh, 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 Kadosh
Baruch
Adonai.
atah Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Now we just continue silently. Yismach Moshe Matan Chag. I'm just going to pull the screen up. We can meditate silently. Shamar b'nei Yisrael Shabbat. Zena einenu b'shuv chaletzim brachamim baruch Adonai mavashish v'tziyam modim hana. I will give you a Cantors blessing for the week. From here, Yevarachanai v'yishmerecha, Yoer Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisar Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He cause His countenance to shine upon you and favor you. May Adonai face towards you and grant you peace. Amen, amen, amen. And now, to add to our medley now, a little bit more fancy Vishamru, fancy by our standards. This is a cantor, Ellen.
Vishamru, page 54.
Here we go.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריבונם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריבונם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריבונם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לדורותם בריבונם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפל. שבת וינפל. שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת הזאת, את השבת לדורם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת
חצי כאן.
Now, give me a second. We do our little bit of studying. A portion of the first study gives an opportunity to recite the Haggadah of Pesah. Give me a second. Up.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week we had the introduction to the Pirkei Avot. Now in the second paragraph, you can see right on the top of the page, we're reading about Shimon HaTzadik. It's not clear who he was. We're told here, Misharei Knesset HaGdolah, the last men of the Great Assembly. Great Assembly indicates a period from Ezra on down before we get to the first rabbis who are mentioned in the Mishnah. They're shaping Judaism as it comes to be. So he is one of the last of them. He may be associated with the priest who greeted Alexander in legend as he came to Jerusalem. That's one possibility. May be related also to one of the Maccabean kings, or the queen, one of the queens. So one of several possibilities. But what does he have to teach us? Al Shlosha Devrim Ha'olam Omed. Al Torah, Al Avodah, Al Gemilut Chasadim. On three things, the world exists or is established. Without these three things, there is no world. And it means it literally, Al Torah. Without the knowledge of sacred wisdom, life cannot exist. Life cannot exist. Al Avodah. Without worship. He had in his day the temple worship. We add on to it the private worship of the prayer, the collective worship of the synagogue. Without that sense of worship, without that sense of giving thanks and appreciation to the Creator, the world does not exist. And finally, Al Gemilut Chasadim, because Gemilut Chasadim, acts of loving kindness. What good is our knowledge of the sacred? What good is our appreciation of God if we don't give love to our fellow human being? So we need all of these three things. Torah, Ba'al Avodah, Ba'al Gemilut Chasadim. There's even a song with this. We can sing it. If you even know it, let's sing along. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Torah, Ve'al Avodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Ve'al Torah, Ve'al Avodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. And now we recite the Kaddish the Rabbanan. Go down to the end here. And those reciting the morning Kaddish recite with me. Itkadal, V'yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Yama Divra Chirutei. Oh my gosh, my page disappeared on me. Does this work? Wow. Give me a second, bear with me. These are the wonders of technology. It's like
כהה לכון ולכון שלמה רבה, תינה ותזדה ורחמים, וחיינה ותין ומשנה רביך, ופוקנה מקדם ובוכון בי בשמיה ויבוא אמן. יהיה רבה מי שמעשה בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויבוא אמן.
אמן.
ברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויבוא אמן.
Amen. Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you for this last minute save. The wonders of technology. Very good. So now we go back to the Torah service. Shrink this down. Cantor Erman.
Yes.
Yeah, lead us with the opening of the Torah reading. We're going to pretend we have our ark here. Try to get my techie Siddur to come back up where it should. Pay attention.
We'll stay here. Everyone's coming.
There we go. Encounter Erman. We're going to pretend we have the ark on the screen. I have Jerusalem scenery in the background. I have the Kotel on the shared screen also. So we'll go ahead. Start up.
Engamocha Elohim Adonai, V'yenkemasecha, Malachutecha, Malachut Kol Olamim, Umemshaltecha, Bechol Dor Vador, Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Imloch, Leolam Bahen, Adonai Oz Le'moyitein, Adonai Yivarech, Edamo Hashalom, Avrahami, Yivaber Tzora, Betzion, Tivnei Chavot, Yerushalayim, Tivnei Chomot, Yerushalayim. Ilecha levatachnu melech el v'nisan adon olamim.
And we pretend the ark is open.
Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai Ve'yavotzo yadecha V'sanecha Mipanecha Kiyon Teitzei Torah Kiyon Teitzei Torah Udevar Adonai Yerushalayim Baruch Natan Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael
And we're going to go ahead to take the Torahs out. We only have one Torah scroll today, imaginary Torah scroll. And we go ahead to the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
All together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Galul Adonai Unuram Shemo Yachda.
And we go around. Echad
Adonai Hagedura Atiferet Ve'anitzav Ve'avod Bashamayim Ubaretz Yichol Bashamayim Ubaretz Adonai Amakat V'Minaseh L'Chol Rosh Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu Yishtachavu Adom Raglav Kadoshu Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'yishtachavu V'har Kodosho Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Thank you, Cantor. Thank you. Thank you. So we now go to our Torah reading. Joe Ben Lulu is going to do the reading for us. We're going to get it ready here. Going to move this over out of the way, off to the side. And all, there we go. I apologize, my computer is going crazy. It's trying to back up something. It sends me messages that I don't want, or what it's not doing. So we'll be all right. Torah reading for today. We have, it's a regular reading, but it's a special Shabbat. It is called Shabbat Haggadah, and I'll explain that when we get to the Haftarah. But our Torah reading is from the portion of Tzav, which means command, from the opening words, because it says here, God spoke to Moses saying, command Aaron and his sons with the instructions. This is the detail for the Korban Olah. And it goes through different kinds of sacrifices. Most of this is very, very, very theoretical for us. The Olah is a complete burnt offering on the altar. There is the Korban Chatat, which is the we may call the purification offering when someone has done something wrong. The different types is Asham, and there's other types of offerings in that category. There's the Mincha, which is a gift offering. There's a Zevach Shlamim, which is a meal that is shared jointly between God and the priest. And of course, there are also the festival offerings where the public joins in sharing in the offering also. The whole point being that it's a way of connecting to God. The word korban has its root, the Hebrew word karov, to be near. The korban is something that was intended to bring the worshiper near to God, to have a feeling of the presence of God. That in giving something of his fruit, of his produce, of his flock, in giving it to God, he felt that God was sharing with him, and hence this communion. Catholics, for example, and Protestants also, Christians take this idea of communion very much literally, figuratively, in the taking of the wafer and the wine, where they're not taking of the animal sacrifice, but of Jesus, symbolically the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice, right? It's still taken over, continuation of the idea, transforming it in a Christian perspective, and we have transformed it into Avodah Shebalev, the offering of the heart. So, which reminds me of a story of a very pious Jew who heard the rabbi say, and the Aramaic phrase is, Rahmana liba bai. The merciful one desires heart. He said, the merciful one desires heart. Well, how can I give a heart to God? He goes to the butcher shop. He says, give me some chicken hearts. Because they're very good, actually. I don't know if you ever had them. Tender. And I'm going to roast them, put them on a tray, and put them into the ark. Lo and behold, some weeks go by, the rabbi comes in and sees that something smells funny inside the Aron Kodesh. Opens it up. Sees a tray, some trays of chicken hearts getting rotten. He finds out who put them there, and he says, it's Yankel Schwankel. He says, what have you been doing? He says, well, Rabbi, I heard you preach, Rahman Ali Babai, God wants the heart. So I said, what better way than to give him chicken hearts? He says, no. He doesn't want cooked hearts. He wants your heart from inside you, your personal love, your affection, your admiration, your appreciation, your love. That's what he wants. So the Korban for our ancients was the way of giving the heart. We replace Avodah Shebalev, right? The offerings of the heart. So that is the main thought in here for this. So, Joe?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to put the Hebrew and English side by side.
Okay.
You can follow. There we go. And I'm trying to get this out of the way.
1 through 3?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, צב את אהרון ואת בניו לאמור, זאת תורת העולה, היא העולה על מוקדה, על המזבח, כל הלילה עד בוקר, ואש המזבח תוקד בו, ולבש הכהן מדוב בד ומכנסי בד ילבש על בשרו, והרים את הדשן אשר תאכל האש את העולה על המזבח ושמו אצל המזבח.
Now, one thing that's very interesting is one other thought. The priest, after the sacrifice is offered, has to take the ashes out every day, throw them away. So one commentator says, the ashes represent that which was given. We did it. It was wonderful. It's finished. We take it. We move it out of the way. We have to start today with a fresh offering, not rely on last year's ashes or last day's ashes, right? So just because yesterday we did something wonderful doesn't mean we should not do something wonderful today to our fellow human being, to God, in any way possible, right? A new offering each day. So our haftarah for today is what is really important, or let's say especially unique. We call this Shabbat Haggadah. And it is given that name because of the last line of the haftarah, in which it talks about the great and awful day of the Lord, Yom Gadol B'Norah, the great day, and so it's attached to the Shabbat. Some commentators said, well, it really comes from the fact that on Shabbat, the rabbi, the Shabbat before Pesach, teaches everybody what to do for the Seder, what to do about the Chametz, and since there's an awful lot of instructions to do, he goes on and on and on and on to the congregation say, this was a really great Shabbat. So long, so big, right? In the sense of too much of it. So that's a bit of rabbinic humor on that one. But this is very significant. This is Malachi, the prophet Malachi. It's from the ending of his prophecy. Malachi is the last of the prophets. If we look in our text, we have a list of the prophets. The end of the Torah, the last section of the section of the prophets, is the Tresah. The Tresah, the 12 prophets who are all linked together because they're shorter books. This is the very last one. And he is considered the last of the chain of prophets. It's actually after the temple has been destroyed, and after the exile and after the communities come back. Communities come back, and it is not wonderful yet. They've rebuilt some kind of temple. They're not excited about it. It's not going right. And he looks at them and says, this is what you think is this temple is not good. You're still stuck in the old ways. You're stuck in the same ways that led you down the path of destruction. So you must change and go back, turn back to me. Shuva elai, v'ashuva lechem. Right? Turn to me and I return back to you. And then he says, B'men nashuv, how should we return? Well, he says, don't offer curses instead of blessings. Don't offer offerings without intent, without the heart in them. If you do things right, I'll banish the locusts, I'll banish all the horrors. The nations shall count you happy. Notice this ending. The nations will count you happy if you do the right things. And then continues, and he talks about watch for this end of the days. Right? That day that I'm preparing. And you see the difference between righteous and the wicked, between him who has served God and him who has not. And then he says in that day, this is the end of days, the great revolution at the end of times. This day is coming, it's going to be burning like a furnace, and all the wicked shall be destroyed like straw. But you who revere him will rise to victory. You'll go forth like the lively vital calf. And then he reminds him again, watch carefully. And these are the key lines, the very last line and the next line. And Joe, I'll let you read this ending for us, and then I'll explain it.
Okay.
I think we started at...
I think on Yud Tet on 19.
That's right. Hine hayom.
Okay.
Good.
כי הנה היום בא בוער כתנור, והיו כל זדים וכל עושה רישה קש, וליהט אותם היום הבא, אמר אדוני צבאות, אשר לא יעזוב להם שורש וענף, וזרחה לכם יראי שמשמש צדקה ומרפא, בכנפיה ביצעתם ופשתם כעגלי מרבק, ועשותם רשעים כי יהיו אפר תחת כפות רגליכם, ביום אשר אני עושה, אמר אדוני צבאות, זכרו תורת משה, עבדי אשר ציוויתי אותו בחורב על כל ישראל, חוקים ומשפטים, הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליה הנביא לפני בוא יום אדוני הגדול והנורא, והשיב לב אבות על בנים ולב בנים על אבותם פן אבוא, והכיתי את הארץ חרם.
And then we repeat the next to the last line, Hine Anochi.
הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליה הנביא לפני בוא יום אדוני הגדול והנורא, והשיב
Okay, that's it. And we stop at that point. The reason we do it is that his teaching stops at the words, I shall destroy the earth, with a terrible, it says, strike the whole world with utter destruction. We never end our haftarah on a down note. And so the rabbi said, when they have a line like that, you repeat the line before it, which has usually something a little bit more positive. And that's the important line. I send you Elijah the prophet before the coming and awesome day of the Lord. Yom Gadol v'Nora. This idea of the day of the Lord is something that goes back. It's also the pre-destruction time already. The prophets are talking about this. There has to be some day of reckoning in which justice is triumphs and the wicked get their recompense. But it would be very difficult, very painful at the end of days. And here Elijah's job then is to come and to announce to us the end of days. I jokingly put as my topic when I sent out the MailChimp email for the Shabbat, and I said, Waiting for Elijah. There was a play by a playwright, Beckett, Waiting for Godot. These people are hanging around, waiting for this guy who never comes. So we're hanging around waiting for Elijah. Where do we see Elijah? The Pesach at the Seder, 5th cup. And what's his job? To come and tell us, oh, the end is finally here. Everything's going to be fixed. So we keep on looking for him to take a drink of the cup. The cup stays full. Well, how much can he drink? Also, one other time, bris. Every bris. We have a seat for Elijah. So Elijah's job, the bris, showing we are true to the covenant. The Seder coming to tell us the redemption is near. Right? This is the job of Elijah. Very different from the Elijah of the Bible, because the Elijah of the record we have is a wild and angry man, one who is angry at his people, has no love for his people. And what Malachi has done for us is turned Elijah from this prophet of anger and frustration with his people to the prophet who's going to do what? Beshiv lev avod. Beshiv lev avot abanim, v'lev banim al avotam. To return the hearts of the fathers to the sons, the hearts of the sons to the fathers. This reconciliation between the generations. Relations between parent and children are not always good. Right? One generation has claims, another generation has failings. One generation has success, another generation has failings. It may go back and forth. This reconciliation of the generations is so essential, right? Father, son, mother, daughter, parent, child, however you want to define it, right? This now is what's essential to bring the reconciliation. That's a very different Elijah than Elijah the stormer who defeats the prophets at Mount Carmel. Very different Elijah. This is the Elijah of the coming of the Mashiach. Okay, that is our Torah reading for today. Want to do Mishaberach for our members. And we got the Mishaberach list. And we're going to sing. I've got it in here somewhere. One second. Oh, we go. Here we go. Got on the Mishaberach list. And then I have the song with Debbie Friedman. Give me a second. We'll pull that up. Oh, and go up here. And we're going to pray for the well-being of our dear friends here in this congregation. Allison Petsko, Esther Elisheva, Pinchas Bertoskovsky, Miriam Leodorf, Yosef Ben Galina, Moisey Kelchik, Mindy Levins-Pfeiffer, Jennifer Levins, Ronnie Duran, Harriet Levins, Moisey Ben Manya, Barbara Mormon, Esther Gerson, Joe Alexander, Robert Drato, Roger Rosen, Rachel Aflalo, Jenny Drato, Michael Schinder, Susan Tuchman, Shirley Marco, Fira Feinberg, Judy Alkaline, Richard Zeller. Any other names that you have?
Gabi and Tito Gorodisha.
Gabi and Tito Gorodisha.
Obed Ventura.
Ventura.
Esther Rachel Batsiva.
Esther Rachel Batsiva.
Rochelle Erman.
Rochelle Erman.
Sima Harlev.
Sima Harlev.
Sharon Lipman. Susan Feinberg.
Any other names?
Wendy Keller.
Susie Zila.
So for all of them, we offer our prayers, and may the Holy One send them healing both in body and in mind.
Rabbi, this is Barbara. I'm sorry.
Barbara. Yes.
Leva Batsara, Kana Batsara, Eliyahu Ben Chana, Herb Mormon, Irina Husepian, Alex Trebek, Shoshana Batsara, Chana Sarah Leah Bat Rachel, Shimon Meyer Ben Rachel, Chana Sarah Bat Ela Alta, Alan Whalen, and High Honesty.
All the way back, Kodesh Baruch Hu, Shlach them, refresh them, before the Nefesh, Shavut the Guf, Shabbatim Elazok. May the Holy One send them healing both in body and in mind to them and to the whole house of Israel. Let us all say Amen. And join in with Debbie Friedman singing the Mishabeh. Melody that we know, she's the composer. Let's see if we get her up here on the screen.
It would be really hard for me to, especially in these people, and to not sing the Mishabeh. To do it, and ask you not to sing along in your minds and hearts the names of those people across the seas, all of those, and all of those.
Here we go. You can sing along, but in the background, so.
May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. This is still for you. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Misheberach avotenu, Misheberach avotenu, Mekor habracha, Mekor habracha, Le'imotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Misheberach imotenu, Mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
have our heartfelt prayers. We pray now for the United States, for the people of Israel, and I looked for something, something historic. Last week I had Kate Smith sing for us. I said, let me go back to find the first Jewish prayer for the government recorded when the United States was established as a constitutional republic. And I found this from Chazan Gershon Sheiksas. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. It was the Chazan of the congregation in Philadelphia. And I adjusted it slightly, used terms that are no longer quite so relevant, but I said I took a little bit out of it. Let's just read it together. May he that dispenses salvation
unto kings,
and dominion unto princes, and makes a way in
the sea,
and a path through the mighty
path through the
waters.
mighty waters.
Bless, preserve, guard, and assist,
guard, assist,
and supremely
and
exalt
supremely
to the
exalt
highest
to the
degree
highest degree
all the leaders and administrators
of
of
the
these United States of America, and of the
and of
individual
the
states
individual
and
states and
localities. May the
May
Supreme
the
King of
Supreme
Kings,
King of Kings,
through his
through his
infinite
infinite
mercies,
mercies,
preserve them,
preserve them and
grant them
grant
life,
them life,
and deliver
and
them from
deliver
all
them
manner of
from all
trouble
manner
and
of trouble
danger.
and danger.
May it fix them
May
and
he
establish
fix
them
and
in their
establish
several
them in
departments
their
in peace
several
and
departments
tranquility.
in peace and
May the
tranquility.
Supreme King of
The
Kings
Supreme King of
implant
Kings
among them
implant
unity,
among them
brotherly love, and peace.
brotherly love and peace.
Let not
Let
their
not
lips
their
speak
lips
evil,
speak
nor their
evil,
tongues
nor their
utter
tongues
deceit.
utter deceit.
Grant them
Grant
a
them
spirit
a
of just
spirit of
counsel,
just counsel,
so that may be
that they
enabled to
may be
support
able
their
to support their
determination with wisdom and
determination
judgment,
with wisdom and judgment,
and peace
and
ever
peace
subsist between them
them
and the nations in alliance with them, and establish to them a covenant of peace until time shall be no more. So the nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they make war
neither
anymore.
shall they make war anymore.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, and now let me go ahead.
Is that that's the earliest version of the?
Yeah, no, I advised it because it's for kings and princes and sovereigns, terms that we don't have anymore. A lot of terms of that period, and I just generalized it to the leaders of the United States and their allies. But most of the time, he had at the end, he had the whole section was just for the Jews of his period. May we all be gathered again. But that's our theme of this one, which is the prayer for the state of Israel. Last week I had the version from the Israel Defense Forces. Today, let's take our regular version that we're used to. We'll sing it all together. I've got it here in front of you, and let's join in. I have to remember which one we're singing. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim. So Yisrael v'Golan, Orechet Medina Yisrael, Eshit Tzmichat Gulatenu, Hagen Alecha, Bevrat Chazdecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukkot Shelemecha, Shlach Orcha Hamitcha, Yosher Sareha V'Yatzeha, Taknim Beitzah Tova Milfanecha, and in the English, strengthen the hands of those who defend Holy Land. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, deliver them and crown their efforts with triumph. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, so Yisrael v'Goalo. Bless our land with peace, O God, to inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us say, Amen. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, so Yisrael v'Goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Gulatenu, Hagen Alecha, Bevrat Chazdecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukkot Shelemecha, V'nomar Amen, V'nomar Amen. Okay, that's it. I wanted to have the opportunity to sing it together. And Cantor Erman, you're still with us. He's going to have to leave.
Yes.
Shortly, he's got another event that he's involved in online. But we're going to return the Torah to the Ark. And so I'm just scrolling on down, and it's the ball is in your court, or the Torah is in your hands, whichever metaphor you'd rather use. And right here we are. Hallelujah. Let's all join in with the cantor. Follow the cantor. Actually, do it softly so you can hear him. You can sort of whisper along. Go ahead.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Kenizgav Shemo Levado, Odo Aleres Beshamayim, Vayarem Keren Leyamo, Tilalecho Azidam, Livnei Yisrael, Am Kerovo, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Mizmor David, Avul Adonai B'Neim, Avul Adonai Gam V'Baos, Avul Adonai Gibor Shemo, Ishtachavul Adonai B'Hadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Hamayim, El HaKavod Irim, Adonai Hamayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Yehovah, Kol Adonai Be'er, Kol Adonai Shomer Arazim, Vaisham Adonai Dor Zechanon, Vayarkidem Kmo Egel, Lebanon B'Siryon, Kmo Ben Reimim, Kol Adonai Chosem Labotesh, Kol Adonai Yachmi Bar, Yachil Adonai Mibakadesh, Kol Adonai Yachol Elayalot, Vayechesav Le'arot, Uvechalot Ulo, Omeir Kavod, Adonai Lama Yasha, Vayeshem Adonai Melech Le'olam, Adonai Oz Li'amo Yitein, Adonai Yevarech Edamo Shalom.
And we return the Torah to the Ark. It's Chaim He.
It's Chaim He. Lama Chazikim Ba. Betom Chayam Meyushar. Bechol Netzivoteha Shalom. Shibeinu Adonai Elecha Nashuva Kadesh Ameinu
Okay, thank you, Cantor Erman. I thank you very much for joining with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cantor Erman.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We're not doing a real Musaf, but the end of the Musaf and the end, or the end of the Midah has the last line, Oseh Shalom. So I thought I'd throw in this one, which is children's choir at Beverly Vista Middle School. It's actually elementary school, but it's the middle school group. And they're singing Oseh Shalom. It happens to be my granddaughter's choir group. She's maybe 6th grade or 7th grade in this. She's now in college. But I thought you'd enjoy this. This is a school that does such wonderful work in music with the youngsters all the way through. So give it a listen. Oseh Shalom. Now, we'll wrap up. We're going to start to wrap up the service. We have the Ladino Enkel
non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Malkeinu, mi Yoshienu. ¿Quién como nuestro Dios? ¿Quién como nuestro Señor? ¿Quién como nuestro Rey? ¿Quién como nuestro Salvador? No del Eloheinu, no del Adonai, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Atahu Shektiru, Aboteinu, Lefanecha, Eketoret Asamim. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Now, we're going to wrap up our service. Tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to wrap up our service, Kaddish Adon Olam, and I found a very interesting one. I'll show you. And then I have a video presentation. It's a PowerPoint display. So those of you who are on the phone, you won't be able to see it, but I have it recorded. So you'll go back to the recording. I'll send you the links. I'll publicize the link for the recording, and then you can see what I've put up here for the display. It's displays of Haggadot, Passover Haggadah from different periods of Jewish history, and so go back in time over centuries. We're going to go now to the and we remember loved ones who passed away this year, Agatha Safari and Francis Mandel. And this week we commemorate the yardsticks of those who passed away in previous years at this time of the year. David Yavitz, Harry Miller, Moises Kupferwasser, Isaac Rubinoff, William Sider, and Kitty Sayers. May their memories be for a blessing. And those who are reciting the Morning Kaddish. When I jumped ahead, I'm going to apologize. I jumped ahead for Aleinu. Let me go back. Let's step back for Aleinu. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. And let's wrap up our service with Aleinu, then the Kaddish. Together. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teikru l'litzei reshit shelo samei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachat adama shelo samchakenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim לפני מלך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ושם יקרה בשמיים ושכינת זו וגם אין מרחמים הוא אלוהינו אממכנו קראנו בתורתו ידענו והשמותה אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ And we'll join in the last line. I didn't print it in here, but it's Now I go back with my apologies for jumping out of line here. We remember those loved ones who passed away this year. Agatha Safari, Francis Mandel. We call in mind those who passed away tragically because of this mass pandemic. And we give our hearts to those loved ones of members of this congregation who passed away at this season and previous years. David Gavitz, Harry Miller, Moises Kupferwasser, Isaac Rubinoff, Miriam Sider, and Keith Sayers. May their memories be for a blessing. Now we recite the Morning Kaddish. I have it here in front of you. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Yama Divrach Hirutei, Yamlich Malchutei. Hayachon, Chaye b'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, B'zman Karib, V'yimru, Amen. Ehei Shmei Rabba Mavurach, Olam V'olmei Olmaya, Yitporach, V'yistabach, V'yispuar, V'yisramam, V'yisnaseh.
Yisadar, Yisalei, Yisalo, Shemei Kodisha, Barichu, Eilam, and Kol Berchata, Vishirata, Vishvachata, Nechamata, Amirom, Yoma, Vehimru, Amen. Hey, Shlomo Rabba, Min Shemaya, Ayim Aleinu, Vakol Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Osei Shalom, Bimramo, Booyah, say Shalom, Aleinu, Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. And Amen. May He grant peace in the heavens above, grant peace unto us, and to all people, and to all Israel, and to all people, and not only peace, but safety and security, and not only safety from illness, but also safety from economic catastrophe. In Torah, when there's no, though there can be no such thing as Torah, we pray that the world economically survives this, not just in terms of pandemic, but also in terms of the dislocation, the great dislocation of people's lives. They all be well and safe. Amen.
Amen.
And let's all join in Adon Olam now. Barbara, last week I gave you sounds of silence. No, I'm sorry. I gave you
Scarborough Fair.
But now I got another one from Simon Garfunkel. And this is from a congregation in Canada, Cantor Ben Lulu. I don't know, Joe, is the family member? Ben Lulu?
Maybe. It could be.
Let's see. No, that's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. There we go. Here we go.
The unprecedented closures of so many institutions, especially religious
We move forward a little bit.
here on behalf of the Spanish and Portuguese synagogue clergy, executive board, a few songs to keep you connected. Adon Olam Asher Malach.
Here we go.
בטרם כל יציר נברא, אין עזר בחזקות, אזי מלך בכל נקרא, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא. אחרי ככל הכל, לבדו יברוך תודה, והוא היה בידו והוא יהיה בתפארה, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא. והוא אחד ואין שני, להבשילו לדברה, ולראשית דברי, אלוהות והעזרה, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא. והוא אלי וחי גולי, וזוכרי וצרה, וניסי ומנוסי, אין הכוסי ביום רע, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא. בידו אף חינוכי, ואת אישה בעירה, והגנורי גבירתי, אדון עלי מלודיה, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר
was nice. That was
very nice.
The first
wonderful
Spanish and Portuguese congregation, the first synagogue of Canada.
No, it's
Montreal.
Montreal.
Right.
It's not of Canada. It's of Montreal.
Montreal, right. And so, there we go. Another Toronto. Well, Montreal took the cake on that one for Torontons.
What, Rabbi? Get Canada right.
But,
never mind. Typical American.
The Quebecois were there first. I know. So, all right. Here's what I want to do now. For those who are on the phone, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom. You can stay on and listen to the audio. I'm going to put on a PowerPoint presentation. I'm shutting down all these others so my system doesn't crash on me. That's it. Yeah, here we go.
At this time, I'd just like to say Shabbat Shalom to
Okay,
everybody.
Cantor, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Shalom,
And everyone have a wonderful Shabbat and keep safe. And all the best to everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Joe. Nice to hear your voice.
Good to hear. Nice
to hear your voice,
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Bye.
Okay, so those of you who still have who have the video active, this is a PowerPoint. As we're approaching Pesach, the Seder's, I'm getting things set so we have our second night Seder up and running, and I said, you know what, let's do something to get us in the mood for the Seder. I have a little slide presentation. These used to be Haggadot that I used to have in my collection. A few were original, some are reproductions. And watch out. Okay, and I started out, this is from some Chinese artwork, Moses receiving the tablets and Noah's Ark. And now we're going to go ahead. Okay, and go ahead. This is the introduction to the order of Passover according to the Seder. But here, first Seder. The people who celebrate the Seder the right way, we may say, hold on, go back. Where are you going? It's running away on me. Hold on. Right? Let's go this way. Okay. All right. So this is as the Seder was originally. The only difference being that the participants are wearing modern baseball caps. But these are the Samaritans. Samaritans were a branch, the northern remnants of the northern kingdom that had stayed behind and weren't exiled in 722, and may have also intermingled with some of the peoples that the Assyrian conquerors brought in. Whatever the exact origins are, separated from the rest of the Jewish community, took only the 5 books of Moses and the book of Joshua. And
Rabbi,
yes.
Can you speak a little bit to the fact that they're eating lamb, which Ashkenazis don't?
Right, and Sephardim do, by the way. Sephardim do.
Right. I know.
So they keep the Bible as literally as they can, at least the 5 books of Moses. So when it says, roast, it's roast on the fire, complete, and not boiled. Where it says you shall put a memorial on your foreheads. It's in the story of the Exodus where we're told that. So they understand that it means that just as we sprinkle blood on the doorposts, that memorial is the blood. And so they sprinkle the blood of the lamb on their heads. It's part of the ceremony. And they dress, when they actually go out, they dress in travel clothes with their stick in hand as if they're actually leaving the Exodus. Now, very interestingly that they are genetically very closely related to Jews, more so than they are genetically related to the neighboring Arabs, in whose midst they have been living for 1,400 years since the conquest of the land of Israel by the Muslims, or it was originally the Arab tribes. So this genetic similarity is very interesting. After more than 2,500 years of separation. Let's go on now. The next oldest community that we know or tries to preserve traditions that are not biblical, but certainly Second Temple time, of the Jews of Yemen. And so instead of a plate of a few items, they set the whole table as their Seder plate. So you can see they have lettuce for the maror, for Borei Pi Adamah, the karpas, they use radishes rather than just the little parsley that we have. The harosa, which they call duke, made primarily from dates rather than apples and nuts. The date is the key. That's true in many Sephardic communities also. Instead of just having a little piece of bone that reminds us of the sacrifice, they actually put roast meat pieces, shawiya. They'll have their main meal, which is the chicken soup with hawaj, which is a turmeric and cumin combination that is used in almost everything in Yemenite cooking. So that everything that they cook has a greenish yellowish tint to it. And as we know now, that's supposed to be very, very good for your blood pressure, for your heart, whatever else you need. Here is from one of the oldest copies of the Haggadah we have. Is from the Cairo Geniza. It's not easy to make out. The script is similar to the script as we know it. There you can see Baruch Atah Adonai. And then it is torn apart, but you can make out barely. You can't make out the ma, but you can make out Nishtana. You can make out Laila Hazeh Mikol Halelot. Can you see? I'm trying to use my pointer. I don't know if my pointer shows up on your screen.
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. And so you can see that the earliest text, right? The Mishnah has the text of Manishtana. It has certain things that are appropriate for the sacrifice. We no longer have the sacrifice, so the text was changed to add different questions. But this is the first written copy that we hear from the Yemenite Haggadah. Again, their text going back perhaps older than the Ashkenazic text because they were in direct contact with the academies in Babylonia and kept what they had from the academies in Babylonia. They were very great archivists in Yemen. They were disconnected from the rest of the Jewish world, so when they got anything that they had, they made sure to copy it and archive it and save it. So a lot of things that we know about Jewish life before Middle Ages, the Yemenites preserved for us. So here is their Kiddush, and their Kiddush is much longer than our Kiddush. It goes on and on and on and on. I'm just going to follow my pointer and keep on going, till we get to Lanu Anelhenu Modim L'Simcha. Chagim Uzmanim L'Sason, right? It keeps on going. Here's the fun part from their Siddur. They have, right in addition to the Manishtana, a children's version of the story, which is recited in Judeo-Arabic, or it's the Yemenite Judeo-Arabic, which probably dates back to pre-Muhammadan times, because the Jews of Yemen are sitting there before Muhammad rises in Mecca. They're sitting in southern Arabia, and there was a Jewish kingdom for a while before the rise of Muhammad. So they had their own Arabic dialect, which they kept till today. So the kid would read Machaba Hada Allah Min Jamia Allah Barju and so on. I'm not going to read it because I don't have the right accent. But the story is a very funny story in English translation. So I'll just show you a little bit of it. I won't read all of it. It asks, how is this holy and exalted night filled with light and honor different from other nights? So this is the reason. Here's the answer. On this night, our ancestors and forefathers went forth from Egypt, from the house of bondage, from the tyranny of Pharaoh the denier. Now we get this story. Pharaoh decreed that Israelites should make straws for bricks without recompense. Quote of 400 bricks a day set in order to build storage facilities and a dwelling place for the evil and cursed Pharaoh. Pharaoh's head was like that of a monster, his mouth like the opening of an oven, his stomach like a giant cavern, his back like the broken back of an ass. Right? And good for child's imagination. And then he could go on down how God saved them, remembered, and brought them the plagues and so on. And so for the child's understanding, the plague was so bad, as we go down to the end, even a shriveled old lady was cursed with 1,000 curses. She made a human image from dough. While she was leaning over the oven, a mad dog came and ate the dough image on that night. And the woman began to scream higher, right? That's how a child would imagine it. So that's the stories that's told to a child. Here for the Middle Ages, Haggadah in the 1300s. This is Dayenu. What stands out in the illustration? So tell me what stands out in the illustration.
Everybody's a bird or something.
Bird head.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two? The hat. We have two distinct, right. The hat is a distinct Jewish hat that in some communities in medieval Germany they made Jews wear so they could identify Jews. There's a variation on the yellow badge. The yellow badge actually started in Muslim countries where they had different colored badges for Muslims, Christians, and Jews. And the bird's beak. Why the bird's beak, though?
Moses.
Huh? Why would we put a bird's beak?
Something anti-Semitic?
No, now these are Jews doing for themselves. It's because you didn't want to make an image of a human face. Right? No Pesah b'tmunah, not a face and not a picture. So to get around it, they would make the human images and then put a bird's face on it. Right? As a way of getting around it. Oh, now, this is from a Haggadah somewhere around the 1600s, Prague. And this is an illustration that's found in variations in many Haggadot.
Rabbit?
And what does it look like? Rabbits.
They look like dogs.
Right, it looks like they're hunting rabbits. Can somebody tell me where in the story of the Passover, either in the Bible or any of the Talmudic discussions or any of the legends afterwards, there's anything about hunting rabbits on Pesach? Especially when you can't even eat a rabbit anytime during the week. Right? Jews don't eat rabbits, Jews don't eat hunt rabbits. So here's the secret. The order of the Kiddush on Saturday night is that you say first the yain, the wine, then you make the Kiddush, the blessing for the Kiddush, then you make the Havdalah ceremony for the end of the Shabbat, and you do the blessing over the Zman, the time. We got to this time. So how would I remember it if I don't have a Haggadah in front of me? Because people couldn't afford printed Haggadot, and they weren't handwritten Haggadot and so on. They didn't exist, handwritten. You made an initial. Yud, Kaf, Hey, Zayin. Yud, Kaf, Hey, Zayin. Now, how will you remember the initial? You read it like a word. Yake has. Yake has. Then you say, how will I remember Yake has? Yagden has. It sounds like the German Yagden has. Chase the rabbit. So how will I remember? I draw a picture of people chasing rabbits to remind me what is the order of the service. Hunting rabbits, right? That's where we talk about memory, reminding. So here's an Amsterdam Haggadah, again, 1695. What is interesting, right? Copper engravings added in here. It's a reproduction of the Haggadah with maps. But what is interesting inside, it's a multilingual Haggadah. So it has, because Amsterdam is the publishing center for the Jewish world. So they have to print books that are good for Ashkenazic Jews and Sephardic Jews. They're going all around the Jewish world of that time. North Africa, Europe, Middle East. So,
but Rabbi, wasn't that around the period of the migrations during the Inquisition?
This is after. So this is the 1600s. The Jews that started coming in 2 centuries before. Settling in Amsterdam was the best place for Jews. And so the printing press in Amsterdam became the headquarters. There was no printing allowed, for example, in Muslim countries. They forbade it. So Amsterdam was printing books for Jews everywhere. So you can see right down the middle, we have this, the Kadesh Urchatz. You know, the Kadesh Urchatz, right? So you have this in Yiddish in the middle, Fa'alen Zogen, Zos the Kiddush, Fa'alen Zachen, Zos the Kiddush Machen. For anything else, you must make Kiddush. That's in Yiddish. Then I've got Lashon La'az on the right side and Lashon Sfarad on the left side. So Lashon Sfarad means the language of Spain. Lashon La'az, well, La'az is the foreign language. So I'm not sure what they're referring to. Maybe they're referring to Portuguese. So the Spanish says Lashon Sfarad dire Kiddush, right? Marcelo, my Spanish expert, dire, right? That would be right. Lave los manos inu dire bracha, right? That would be Spanish. On this side it says se dice lo Kiddush, then los mani inun dire bracha. So I don't know, maybe this is Italian or Portuguese, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Do you think it could be Ladino?
Yeah, maybe Ladino different from Spanish.
Tomar del afín onotiniret. And no.
Must be Ladino.
I don't recognize it.
Right. So it's here's the difference. It's sedice instead of dire. So dice, I think this is the Italian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sedice. So maybe that's Italian. It's hard for me to figure out. I thought maybe French, but I can't. No, not French. Okay, so that's my puzzle. Now we go to the other side of the world, also around the same time, and to China, to the Jews of Kaifeng. Here's a picture of the hero of one of the great wars of early China, the Chinese Jew, Li Guangtian, hero of the defense of Pian. One of the great Chinese generals. The Chinese had a few Jewish generals, also in modern times. Chiang Kai-shek had a Jewish general with him, or Sun Kai, the other one, Sun Yat-sen. Anyway, you have the text from Haggadah that they had. On the one side, what would be a more written script version of the Havdalah, Borei Merei Ha'esh, Baruch Adonai Mechalam Borei Merei Ha'esh. And you can see here Kiddush on the other side. So it's somewhere around the 1600s. The man who found the Jews of China for us happened to be a Jesuit priest by the name of Ricci. He was the one, he took special interest in them and brought to the Western world the news that there were Jews sitting in China. Here, Haggadah, a German Haggadah, 1910, I'm sorry, pre-World War II. Illustrations, commentary with it. And my favorite, Haggadah des Kindes, right? The children's Haggadah. Notice the year 1933. 1933. This was my Haggadah as a child. So it had pop-up, like we have pop-up books today. It had it in 1933. Little Moses goes back and forth from the Nile, from Miriam across the water to the Pharaoh. Let's see if I have the second one. That's also, yeah. And then the other version, another page, see the children of Israel crossing the Red Sea. You pull the tab and the Egyptians appear. You push the tab and they drown in the waters. Now, unfortunately, as a little kid, I pulled the tabs too hard, so a lot of them broke.
Oh.
Yeah. But beautiful piece. It's been reproduced in English. I've seen that. All right, this is a famous Haggadah, 1937. Arthur Jick was a noted illustrator of his period. His books are still, his Haggadah are still available on the market. They're being reprinted constantly. The art book is just magnificent in them. And it would not, he could not get it printed in Poland. The Poles are very scared of having it printed. And you can ask why. Well, you see the four sons. You've got the Chacham, looks like a typical Hasidic Bucher. You've got the Rasha, who's dressed like what? What kind of clothing is that?
Hunter?
From what nation? That kind of clothing. Huh?
England.
No.
Russian?
Germans. German lederhosen and the cap, the hunting cap. That's a German costume. That's not what a Jew in Poland wears, right? And if you look very carefully, he has a little tiny beard. Not a beard, mustache. We call him German Schnurrbart. And obviously, it's a picture of Hitler. Picture of Hitler. So the Poles were afraid to print it because they knew the Germans would immediately do something about it. So they had, I think, they got a printer finally in England. Okay, then you see the Tom, a very simpleton-looking fellow with his hands open, and finally this guy, Sheino Yodeh L'Shol, doesn't look what kind of character he is. Right? A prosteid, right, Joe? A prosteid, a very gruber ying, an unwashed redneck character, right? Doesn't know anything, doesn't even know that he's Jewish. You can see these very fine illustrations. All right, a few more, we'll call it quits. Marxist Haggadah, this one from Hashomer Hatzair. Hashomer Hatzair was the farthest left Zionist movement before he became a communist. They had Zionists who were communists. They were members of the Communist Party, they were Zionists. Hashomer Hatzair was not part of the Communist International Movement, but it belonged to the Socialist International Movement. It was as far off before you dropped off the edge. And in the Haggadah, it is all the political struggle, political revolution. God doesn't appear because they're atheists. That's Hashomer Hatzair. And we have some others that have human rights Haggadah, where someone talks about what's the nature of slavery, what about economic slavery, as well as political slavery or physical slavery. And here, an American Heritage Haggadah with illustrations from 1850, you can see making matzot in the New World, right? Hand baking, the oven, the matzot coming out. Last one here, military armed forces Haggadah, right? 1943, World War II, in the middle of World War II. So this was a Haggadah. It was designed to be used for all the armed forces with a text that would be acceptable to all, whether Reform or Orthodox. And you can see that they put in the Hatikva for American soldiers. They were not embarrassed about putting in Hatikva for American soldiers along with Star Spangled Banner and America. So that's my little tour of the Haggadah. Pesach. I hope that you all enjoyed. And I will look forward to seeing you on Pesach night, the second night Seder. Hope you make good arrangements for the your first night Seder. Now I'm going to be trying to chase my kids around on a virtual Seder. We'll see if I can get them to pay once. And then next Shabbat morning, it's Chol HaMoed Pesach, so we have a little Hallel, and we're not going to do formal Yitzchak on Yitzchak Day, but I'll add a little more thoughts about those who are remembering and recalling. So that'll be the theme for the next Shabbat. That takes us into the middle of April. Maybe by then, the plague will pass us over and we'll be let out of our cages. If not, I have everything set up, so it's the same password for every Shabbat up into May. I hope by then we don't need it. Okay, so everybody, wish you all Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Rabbi. Thank you very much.
Okay, to all of you.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
How do I get out of here? And
Hey, this guy, your pet. Yeah.
And now I can see everybody Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.